can we please give a huge round of applause to the new Director of Instrumental Music at Northgate High School, Mr. Roberto Garcia Leyva.
so much for listening. That was our first selection, Sinfonia in D by Johann Christian Bach, who was the son of course, famous Johann Sebastian Bach. This next piece, sorry, I worked up a sweat there. It's been a while for me too. This is my first teaching placement. I just finished my schooling, so I'm very lucky, very fortunate to have ended up at such a wonderful school with such wonderful students and parents and just a great community. So, with that being said, our next selection is Andante by Mendelssohn. This is from, this was originally a piece written for piano, and it was transcribed and arranged for strings. Thank you. Take a moment to thank Martin, Mr. Lejano, and Concord High School for hosting this wonderful event. Like he was saying, you know, it feels a lot of times like orchestra groups don't get as much exposure, don't get as many opportunities to play in the community, for other people, for other schools. So this is a really wonderful thing that we have here going in the district. I'm very grateful that they have an opportunity to listen to each other, to perform. This is our first concert. not at the school, off campus. So this is an exciting time, and we are all just very excited to be back in the classroom. For our final selection tonight, we have a piece by Kurt Mosher entitled American Real. Enjoy.
mention that our soloists on that piece, really wonderful Claire Kim and Eric Wong.
of all, I'll begin with congratulations. Just like Concord High School, you played 3 pieces that were very varied in style, and you all did very well in matching the different styles and emotions of the film. I would like to start with the second piece, the Andantes. Now, this piece is an incredibly intimate piece. If one person is playing loud, or is even a millisecond too early, it sticks out more than anything else. Therefore, we really have to breathe together for all our entrances, and breathe together before every phrase. That is what's going to make your ensemble sound like one instrument, whereas one organism, which is incredibly important when you're playing in an ensemble. So what I would like to do, you guys did very well on this. I'm just going to show you a few tools to kind of tweak it and make it even better. First, we're going to breathe together before we begin. We had a great entrance, but if we breathe together, that solidifies that we are all working, all feeling the exact same pulse. So what I'm going to do, we're in 4. I'm going to give you 3 beats, and on the 4th beat, I want you to practice breathing with me. So can you play how fast you want? Great, good. So what we're going to do is this. 1, 2, 3. And I want to hear you guys, I want to back up the audience to hear you breathing in through your nostrils, so I can ensure that we're all starting together. Okay, we're going to exaggerate it, but just so we can hear each other breathing. Okay, let's try it. Instruments up. We'll give you 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep, and then you're going to keep playing. Yep, sorry, so I didn't. Very good breathing. Let's do the first 2 measures. I'm sorry I didn't specify that. So first 2 measures, okay? 1, 2. Good, stop right there. Now, from the first beat to the end of measure 4 is our first phrase. All phrases follow an arch like this in some form. We begin, we get higher, there's a climax to the phrase, and then there's some sort of decrescendo. So just the same way we crept in, we go until, I would say, the first beat of measure 2 is the climax. After there we decrescendo. I want to hear a nice decrescendo as you come out of your phrase, and then breathe again as you start measure 5, because that is the start of a new arch. That is the start of a new phrase, okay? So we're going to breathe going in, decrescendo even more at the end of 4, and breathe going into measure 5. Let's go from the beginning until measure 9. Again, I'll give you 3 beats, and I want you to breathe with me. 1, 2, 3. it's natural for our bodies to tense up because we're holding our bow up off the string. So we have to remember, especially in pieces like this, to breathe, to relax our body so that the music doesn't end up sounding very tense and mousy to the audience. Very good job. Let's keep going. Let's talk about this piano. All right, let's go to measure 17, where you have subito piano. Before 17 and measure 15, you have this beautiful, in measure 14, you have a crescendo into a great forte at 15, then you have a subito piano. I noticed this throughout this entire piece. Every time you had piano, it sounded scared. Now, piano doesn't mean less than completely. It means less volume, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean less bow. It doesn't have to mean less articulation. It just means the volume is less. And what I saw is everyone being very scared that they don't want to play louder than their stand partner, which is great ensemble playing. However, we have to continue that beautiful legato fluid motion that you started with, even when it's quiet. And the way we do that, string players, is we have to know how to play piano. What are some ways you can play piano? What do you do with pressure? More or less? Less, right? What about the bow? What can you do with the bow angle? Tilt it, very good. So instead of using all the hair on your bow, tilt your bow to maybe use 75% of it. Pressure, less, but not necessarily a teeny tiny small amount of bow. So what you guys are doing in measure 15 was gorgeous. I want to keep that same energy even though you drop down to piano at measure 17. So what I want you to do is pick. Either tilt your bow or less pressure. But I want you to try to use the same full bow and not hide behind your sound, okay? So pick right now in your mind, I don't care what it is, either you're going to tilt your bow or you're going to do less pressure. What we're going to try to do is keep that same fluid legato sound from 15 onwards, even though you have subito piano. All right, let's start it, right at 15. Maybe 4. Everyone should get frog, if I see correctly, it's fortes. Frogs, frogs, frogs. Good. 1, 2, 3. Participate in trying to match your bows. Now we talked about how to do a piano. How do we do a crescendo? What is some ways you can increase your sound? More bow, more pressure? Good, let's combine both of those. Now you guys have great section leaders. Those in the back, I want you to try to match your bow to your section leaders, especially in measure 20. In measure 20, we have mostly 8 notes, right? Viola, cello, string, bass, you have 7, more or less. Violins, you have 8. Think about every single note having maybe a ½ inch more bow, so that you're really increasing the amount of bow, and that's going to help increase this crescendo. And if you guys are all doing that together, it's going to make this beautiful, uniform crescendo sound. Try it. Start at measure 20. And think about your first note. Think about how much you have to go. If your last note is going to be the most amount of bow, your first note can't be this big, right? Because then you're going to use up all your juice and you need it for the end. So think about your first bow being maybe even less than 1 inch. Let's try measure 20. Each note grow a half inch. 1, 2, 3, breathe. Good, very good. Good, I want you to exaggerate that. Do that, turn it up like 25%. Start quieter, get louder. Same thing. 1, 2, beautiful. You see how you arrived to that note together? That not only sounds beautiful here as a conductor, when you're all the way in the back of the audience, that pushes the music forward and really, really grabs the emotion and creates color in this music. Very, very good job. My recommendation for this piece, Andante again, is just to breathe together. Breathe together, breathe out before all your phrases. And when it comes to using your bow, again, you have really good section leaders. Follow the people in the front. Do I have more time? Great, I can do 2 minutes. Let's go to Symphonia. We're gonna take that same idea, since we only have 2 minutes, I won't introduce anything new. Let's go to big letter O. All right, I'm gonna, big letter O. Violins, your last quarter note at the end of these runs, play out a little bit more to simplify the end of the phrase. No, that just kind of cuts that note, right? Just think about that, a little bit more of a quarter note. Then, what I want to practice is everyone breathing together. We're going to go from O to P. Everyone breathing together into P. Basically what's happening is the orchestra has this really loud, very intense, energetic section, and they have one beat to flip the switch, kind of like actors, put on a different hat, and play very quiet and gently, which is not as easy as it looks. So in that one measure, the way you're going to, again, bring it all together is by breathing. You guys are very talented. Your intonation is good, your bow usage is pretty good. This is the next step to really elevate yourself to a higher level, okay? Let's try. Let's go, oh, sorry, violins. I know you, first violins, I know you want to start there, but we're gonna do it. You can do it, all right? How about, oh, we were going bum, bum, how fast? Bum, bum. There you go, thank you. Right at O, I'll give you 4 beats. Instruments up. 1, 2, 3. Good. Oh, no, we're keep going. I'm sorry. Maybe I look like I was doing this to show your quarter note to be a little bit longer. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Let's do that one more time, starting at O. And then we're breathing the rest before piano to be able to drop down together to come out together. 1, 2, 3. Right at 111. I didn't hear half of you guys breathe. I promise if all of you breathe together, that piano won't sound as scared. You will know exactly how to come in. Right at 111. 1, 2, 3. Good. Do it again. That was great. Do it again. Now, use more bow. Just because it's piano doesn't mean you gotta be mousy about it, right? Use more bow. Just tilt your bow. 1. Same spot, 111. 1, 2, 3. Good. Much better. Much better. Very good job, orchestra. Do you have any questions for me before I step off stage? No? Well, thank you very much. A round of applause for them.